giving us, what's exactly is happening as people are getting ready to cross over into 2025. And here as well, we're getting ready to cross over ourselves.
Indeed.
Well, we're doing that together, we already mentioned. But may I ask, before we go on to our correspondent who's in the UK to ask exactly what is happening there, I wanted to find out what yours was like for 2024.
I mean, Bangadi already asked me and put me on the spot, yes, but it's a mixed bag. Like most Nigerians, it's a mix of happy and sad and angry, and, you know, you just, at the end of the day, like most Nigerians do, we just shrug our shoulders and take it. But I'm sure that might not continue in 2025. Who knows?
Perhaps. Well, I'd like to say for me it was a very different sort of 2024. And while everybody was complaining about 2024, I thought it was quite the year. I think it's a memorable year for me. I can't start to tell the specific reasons or nature why it's a good year, but I've just loved 2024. I will miss it.
I'm glad you did. It's not a terrible year, but it was a challenging one for the broader spectrum of Nigerians and even across Africa. I quite find the submissions by some of the respondents that Austin talked to captivating and intriguing, especially the wishes and the blowing out of candles. And it takes me way back as a young child when we go to church and pray in the new year.
That's that real essence of what the holidays was about. It's no longer the same now, is it? I guess so, with the economy the way
Maybe because we're older. For the young ones, it's still
too much
the
responsibilities
excitement.
now.
Too much responsibility just distracts you
You're
from
adulting.
all the
okay.
fun.
Well, tell you what we're going to do now. We have, instances from across the world, Australia, New Zealand, and all the rest. So let's see exactly how they, since they have already crossed over into 2025, how they did that as we anticipate how we are going to be doing that here in Nigeria. And now we're seeing visuals from New Zealand as they crossed over into 2025 there. Plenty of fireworks from around the world. I'm wondering if we had any arrangement here in Nigeria for fireworks, or if it's still, I think it's banned, isn't it?
It's banned technically, but it still happens. I mean, what is a New Year crossover without fireworks? You will see it across the skies. At least I know in Lagos that will happen, but we might not be able to see it here in the studio. But trust that News Central will be taking you across the country. We have our correspondents spread across to bring us live feed as Nigerians move on.
Yeah, so we've just seen from Australia, Hong Kong, New Zealand, and I think the Kiribati Islands, if I'm correct. This right now is how Hong Kong ushered in 2025. I'm hoping we could take out that band so we can see, yeah, there you go, all the lights and fireworks, and well, they would be excessive. It is Hong Kong after all, but yeah, spend your money. It's okay. Well, it's very beautiful visuals there from across the world. However, we still have one very interesting visual we want to show you, and this is from the UK. Earlier, our international correspondent actually sent this in, and would like to see what people are anticipating and how they're saying goodbye to 2024.
It's been quite a year here in the United Kingdom. The general election means we have a new Labour government, but they are still struggling to make their mark. So we took to the streets of London to find out people's hopes, dreams and aspirations as we cross over into 2025.
You know, the living crisis of the people, the tax cut from the pensioners, that's a bit worrying. You know, safe place to stay for the people, and I'm hoping next year we can see a better light into, you know, giving back, I would say, what belongs to the older people. You know, it's a bit worrying.
I'm from Tanzania original. I work with the farmer in Tanzania, and it was nice here to learn more and more customer learning about my food, because I'm growing natural seed and no chemical, organic, and I'm going back to Tanzania by myself. I'm going to leave my son here. So I hope I'll do much better to help Tanzania people and the British people to eat better food. More self-peace, a lot of self-peace, and self-peace for myself, my daughter.
Beyond individual goals, violence in the capital and global turmoil remain significant concerns as citizens contemplate what lies ahead in 2025.
I'd like to see, political change. There's just been so many almost hands kind of crossed over, and, such movement in the world, wars happening, and also threats of wars. I think I'd like to see an end to that, peace, some sort of stability.
All we have to do now in this coming 2025 is to look after the children properly, to enable them know the consequences of the crime, as they are growing up now, because we as parents, we've done what it takes to get to this level and to this category, So we just have to look after them, to let them know, to separate them from the gangs that rampant here in London, as London is one of the most difficult and dangerous cities. It's nice anyway, based on how you look after your children.
From the cost of living crisis to wars across the world to crime in London, people have a lot on their minds as we come to the end of 2024, and they're definitely hoping that 2025 will be a better year. For News Central, I'm Afia Hagan in London.
Well, that was from earlier when Afia Hagan actually put together that package to tell us exactly how they're preparing for 2025 in the UK. Here in Nigeria, we have our own different method, and it's all about Dirty December. For most people, I'm expecting that they'll still be out there, and everybody will be expecting to see fireworks perhaps as well.
It doesn't matter what your religion is or what your beliefs are. There is an excitement that comes with the ceremonies, and the festivities that, want to move over to a new year. And then you have all those New Year resolutions.
Yeah, but we are carrying so much baggage when we talk about Nigeria. The economy, our people's pockets, the fuel situation, and there's that dread of what 2025 might bring. We do not know exactly whether it's going to be better than 2024. So
well, it has to be, because I don't think that Nigerians have the patience for more stress. 2024 was stressful for most Nigerians. I can tell you, because I saw how hard it was for some families to stay together to, afford basic needs, with the fuel hike, cost of living just went up along with it. So, I mean, the price of fuel is gradually
I wouldn't hold my breath on that, but yes, it is. But I will say that 2024 also kind of like birthed a new kind of, I don't know if to call it empathy, but what people have for other people, seeing other people and trying to help. A new kind of, I don't know. I speak for myself when I say kindness was renewed.
Our experiences are unique to us, but the truth is, Nigerians have always been caring. We can be crazy.
Now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can be crazy, but we are a caring bunch, and we look out for one another. I mean, look at the case of the human rights activist, Dele Faratimi,
yes.
who got emotional. That was almost at the end of the year. Who got emotional from the support he felt that Nigerians accorded him during his time incarcerated.
That's because he represented one and every Nigerian out there who perhaps had the same sentiments and were like, perhaps like, no,
that is a debatable aspect, but I mean, I was just trying to emphasize the fact that...
I will say, I would argue for other people. But then again, yes, you are correct, actually. I also think that 2024 was still a good year when it comes to people being expressive.
Yes,
we were not afraid to say, to tell, to say, oh, I don't like that, I'd rather do this or that, and especially toward the government. It was a good year, not a bad year, if you ask me. Personally, I'll give it a 6, 7 out of 10.
Well, I can't sit here and score the year 2024. It was too complex to put on a scale of 1 to 10 because it was a roller coaster. We had the End Bad Governance protests.
Yes.
We had governors being asked to come and account for monies, and then they just acted like they owned the town.
And the biggest reality show of them all, where is Yahaya Bello?
That was what I was alluding to. I was trying not to say his name, but it is obvious that there are discrepancies in the way we behave in accountability, especially for leadership. And then we've seen, the government in Nigeria through the year telling us, persevere, persevere, we're working. And then activists, just like Dele Faratimi, come up to say that you cannot be living large and asking the people to persevere through changes, that you need to cut down on the cost of governance. But that doesn't seem to be a priority, and we got to know why when the president had his inaugural chat with the media, talking about how every person in his cabinet is important.
Okay. So I think we're going to go on a break now, and then when we get back, we're going to be talking, we're going to be finding out what it's like in New York as they get ready to actually usher in the new year. These are visuals from New York right now. Let's take a listen and see what exactly is happening. Okay, the visuals you're seeing right now are from New York as they get ready to usher in 2025. It's going to be spectacular, as it always is in New York. And I'm looking forward to seeing exactly what they have for this year. It's going to be something good, I'm guessing. But then again, do stay tuned, because here in Nigeria, we'll be giving you details about how it's happening across Nigeria and also across Africa as well. As you've already seen, we've brought you Bongani from South Africa. We've got more. All you need to do is stay right here and usher in 2025 with us. And you're still watching our special crossover special here at News Central as we bring in 2025 along with the rest of the world for you. My name is Mazino Peel, and of course I have with me here Felicity, whom together we will be celebrating, well, a beginning together.
The new year.
The new year together, let's put it so. So we have, over the course of this evening, been bringing visuals from across the world. We've shown you what it's like, what it will be like in New York, and from before that we also told what it was like in Sydney, and think in New Zealand as well. And we're going to continue with that one. I hear that over at the Burj Khalifa in Dubai, they just rung in the new year. So let's take a look at some of the visuals as they celebrated their new year in Dubai.
وعشق ما له آخر ما له آخر
Well, spectacular visuals there from Dubai over at the Burj Khalifa as they rung in the new year with lights and plenty of music. And of course, if you've ever been in that spot, Felicity, it's a very beautiful place to be at. I was there this time.
I've not been, but I hear it's magnificent.
It's magnificent.
Place, yeah.
It was great. And I'm so jealous of anybody who
is there at this time.
has the financial might to be there
at this time.
From Nigeria. But yeah, grand.
All right, we want to step back. We have just about 25 minutes to the new year in Nigeria.
15 minutes.
15, actually. So we're less than 20 minutes to go to get into 2025. But as we get ready to welcome the new year. We want to have a quick conversation reviewing 2024, particularly the economy, the budget, and sundry issues before we step in. Our guest for this conversation is Jide Ojo. He is a public affairs analyst. He joins us live in the studio. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Jide Johnson, I beg
Johnson.
your pardon. My apologies.
Well, you wouldn't blame us because you took out the beard. So
Yes.
yeah, you're forgiven.
Your sins are forgiven.
Thank you very much. I wouldn't want to take sin over to 2025. All right, thank you for joining us. I mean, I'm sure there are other places you would have preferred to be, but talking to people about things is also important. What's your general impression about 2024 as regards the plans for the budget that was presented and how it is going, really?
Well, first and foremost, Happy New Year to, depending on the time zone you are. In South Africa, it's already New Year. In Australia, it's almost about 12 hours ago. And New Zealand, they've crossed over to the New Year. And from my own place of worship, we cross into the New Year in Nigeria by 9 p.m. So we have already proclaimed the New Year. We've already proclaimed the New Year in my church. So, but talking about 2024 has been a challenging year for every Nigerian, not only Nigerians, but everybody all over the world in terms of the double-digit inflation that we have, which has contributed to high cost of living and which has reduced the standard of living and which put a lot of pressure on a lot of families who are challenged economically, and we hope that 2025 will be a better year, will be a more prosperous year for every family and for every citizen of Nigeria. Because if you look at the removal of petroleum subsidy by the president, the removal of electricity tariff, the removal of education subsidy, and the various tax reforms tends to take away a lot of money from the disposable income that people have access to, which was never like that before. And so it sends a lot of shockwaves throughout the economy and throughout the polity. But hopefully, some of the reforms that have been put in place will begin to yield the dividends that those that have come up with the reforms have envisaged, and we hope that it will translate to better things for an average Nigerian.
I mean, let me just jump in and say, sorry, Maximo, I wanted to just quickly jump in and say, December, we saw slight review downward of petrol prices, and some persons say that is an optimistic way to end the year, that hopefully by the first quarter of 2025, we'll see a much further reduction in the price of petrol. Will the coming upstream of the Port Harcourt and Warri refinery be of much impact in your view?
Well, hopefully, let's think so, because in the past, what the excuses we have always been given is that it's the landing cost, the fluctuation in the exchange rate, and we have to use foreign exchange to buy petroleum product. But you knew quite right, sometimes this year, a private sector refinery came into play, and then the Port Harcourt refinery, and just this week, the Warri refinery came on board, and hopefully the Cardinal refinery too will come on board, and I think that there will be no more excuses for those in government to give us excuses as to the reason why the price of this petroleum product will not fall correspondingly to the way it increased over the last 20 months or thereabout, because there's no more landing cost. We are no longer using foreign exchange to pursue. These things are produced locally, and I hope that we have an accountable records of the number of petroleum crude oil that is produced by the NNPC and the ones that are refined locally by Nigerians. And hopefully, if we're able to produce to meet up with the demands of the local market, surplus of that, and then we'll be able to export to neighboring countries and generate enough revenue that can be used for other reasons. What we just require is just transparency. Now, once there's transparency in government, it builds people's confidence. You require public trust and public confidence for the economy to grow. And one of the missing link in Nigeria is that people tend not to have confidence and trust in public officials and agencies of government.
Okay. Well, while we're still on the subject of the removal of petrol subsidy, or coming online of the private refinery, let's also talk about foreign investment. We saw the dance between the NNPCL and then the Dangote refinery as they were trying to set up and provide us fuel. First of all, we thought he was going to be the Messiah. But when you do the math, removing subsidy, him pegging his product with the dollar and all of that, you can imagine how much it came to, the surprise that came to Nigerians when they discovered they would have to be buying fuel at 1,100 naira per liter. However, it was the dance between Dangote and also the NNPCL that was something that to be observed. It made you feel like if he had to go through all this as an indigenous investor, what picture is that painting for the rest of the world and other perhaps maybe companies that want to invest or are looking at Nigeria as a possible investment opportunity? Did it send the right picture, do you think?
No, it didn't send the right signal. It didn't send the right signal, and I've said it over time. Nobody will help you to grow the economy. So, look, it's if you create an enabling environment for your nationals to invest in your economy, they are the ones, and if the results are positive, they are the ones that will bring in their friends, that will bring in their partners from abroad to come and partner with them to grow the economy. If you have, look, how many times have you seen the governors of the United States of America globetrotting the world looking for foreign investment into their various states? Or how many times have you seen the mayors of cities in London or in the Western world globetrotting the world? For me, as far as I'm concerned, I might be wrong. Anytime I see governors traveling outside of Nigeria looking for foreign investment, I just see that as an opportunity for capital flight.
So you're taking the conversation a little away from that because we know that President Tinubu did a lot of traveling.
No. For me, look, charity begins at home. Now, if you create an enabling environment for Nigerians, Nigerian diaspora, to invest in the economy. Look, how did China grow their economy? How did Japanese grow their economy? Despite the effect of the Second World War on Japan and the various sanctions that was imposed on Japan as a result of being part and parcel of the axis of evil, as it was quote unquote regarded then, it was a closed economy for more than 50 years. China closed its economy to the entire world, grew its economy within, and then before it opened up the economy to compete with other developed economy. Look, our economy cannot grow except it is grown by Nigerians. It is Nigerians, it is the local investors, it is the enabling environment. You gave a simple analogy. Now, if I want to invest in the oil and gas sector, look at the Dangote experience, look at the back and forth, and look at how NNPCPL intervened in how Dangote PLC fixed the prices for their own petroleum products that were refined. What signal will he send to foreign investors coming to this? And then successive governments since 1999 have been traveling abroad to bring foreign investors into this country. If you have done something for 25 years and it's not yielding result, then you need to develop a different approach. Look, our economy in the First Republic, our economy before the pre-colonial period were managed and developed by Nigerians. The economy of Nigeria. Look, the farmers.
Yeah, we can do that again, but I just to pivot back to the original premise for this conversation, and that's the budget that we have. 2024 is in less than 6 minutes, will be in 2025, and a budget for 2025 has already been presented to the House of Assembly. So what's your thinking about how the 2024 budget was implemented and its impact for citizens that gives you some hope that 2025 will see better benefits for people?
I hope all the estimate that is required has been done. You require that in 2024 we had about 3 supplementary budgets apart from the budget that was presented, which tells you that proper work was not done in preparing the budget, because if you have to do 3 additional supplementary budget for one financial year, it means that there were factors in that you didn't factor in when you are preparing the budget. So I hope the 2025 estimate has taken care of all what government needs to take care of, because it tells you that there is lack of proper planning if you have to budget and be making supplementary budgets in the course of the year again. And the problem with budgeting in Nigeria has not to do with budgeting. It has to do with the execution, the implementation level. What is the percentage of the implementation level of the budgets that we have had? Don't
lose your thoughts. We'll come back to you in a bit, but we understand my colleague Amadine Uyi is in Abuja and monitoring situation. Okay, let's go to Delta instead. You can already see visuals of my colleague Austin Azu inside the church. It's about just 5 minutes to midnight, and when we will cross over to 2025. I think he's still trying to organize himself and get people to talk to us. Let's see if he's ready. Austin, if you can hear me, can you acknowledge? I see you're busy.
Of the proclamation of the year 2025 by the presiding priest of the church, and it seems everywhere has been electrified.
Okay.
And the population is quite high.
There seems to be a delay. Let's quickly go to Abuja and see what's happening there.
There is something called anastrophe. Now that's another kind of life, and it is your manner of life, your lifestyle. Your lifestyle, the way you live, we call that lifestyle anastrophe, and it's another word for that. It cannot be what Jesus did to offer us. So, 1 minute to say, we are shifted.
Okay, that was Abuja, the service. Most people actually go to church just before the new year. Let's see if we can go back to Delta, Austin. Okay, I'm told we don't have Austin yet, so we'll come back to our guest in this. Okay, Austin, this is a live production, so we're trying to move around the country. Austin, if you can hear me.
I can hear you.
Great. So go ahead, and it looks very busy. Yes, we can hear you from here. Go ahead and tell us what the mood is like and what the people are saying. It's just moments before we slide into 2025.
Yes, the atmosphere here is very charged. You can see the excitement, you can see the jubilation. The worshippers are quite happy, celebrating the outgoing year 2024. And you can see the jubilation. Everyone seems to be happy, and it's quite certain that the clock is ticking already, and everybody is excited to see the wedding year 2025. And we hope and believe that we'll be able to speak to some of the worshippers. Some of them are currently in, dancing mood. Others are praying. Others are thanking God. Okay, let's hear from one or two persons what they have to say about the incoming year. Please, let's speak to your name and designation. Tell us what you guys
I'm thanking God, and I'm very, very, very happy for the Lord marching us gloriously into the 2025 year. And I pray that the God will guide each and every one of us to the end of this year, so that we have the grace to thank Him and praise Him forever and ever in Jesus' name.
Thank you very much. Felicity, you can see the people, you can see how excited they are. They are celebrating already. All right. Please stand up. How do you feel?
I feel blessed. I feel blessed. I feel blessed.
Okay. Michael, please stand right. Stand right. See the excitement here. See the excitement here.
Citadel, Lagos, that's where we're headed next. It is New Year. Happy New Year.
We had so many guests lined up. A lot, actually.
4.
Yeah.
Happy New Year, Nigeria. It's a pleasure to welcome you to 2025. We've already seen the celebrations still ongoing in churches across Nigeria, specifically in Delta and Abuja. We see pastors laying hands on people and praying the New Year 2025. I guess it's up for us to say to our guests in the studio as well, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Felicity,
for
and
crossing
Happy
over.
New Year, Mazino.
Thank you for
It's a
crossing over
pleasure
with
to
us.
share this platform that we are working on the New Year day.
On the New Year, and I'm back here in a couple of hours again. So I don't know how we're going to do that, but we're here now. And yes, we're still having conversations as this is a brand new year. 2024 is gone. There must be some lessons that we get from there. Before we welcomed the new year, we were having a conversation with Jide Johnson talking about the budgetary allocation for 2024 and what impact it has had for the citizens. He doesn't seem to have a whole lot of optimism that Nigerians benefited quite that much from the 2024 budget. Let's get back to him now and see. Oh, okay. I'm told we still need to catch more celebrations before we come to Talk Shop. We are still in Lagos. The visuals you're seeing is live celebrations for 2025, a brand new year. What it holds, we're here to unfold. We are in the studio, just bringing you visuals from across the country as people usher in the new year. Let's come back to Jide Johnson now. Jide, I mean, a lot happened in 2024. This is a brand new year. What are some of the things you believe the government should perhaps be taking more into account and probably policies that they might need to consider reviewing when it comes to the economy?
Well, it's very important for us to understand that the major driver of the economic growth is the energy sector. It's the energy sector that powers everything. That powers your industry, your manufacturing sector, your agrarian sector, every of those sectors. And if you look at what was the cardinal or the focal point of 2024 presidential election in America, it has to do with reducing the cost of energy. And I hope that this government needs to, one, do something about this in ways in bringing down the cost of energy. Because once you bring that cost, it affects other cost of production, which invariably helps the economy to grow and helps the economy to rebound. And I think that we need a transparent approach with respect to how that sector is managed. For example, we need to borrow a cue from what the Brazilians did with their own oil prospecting company, Petronas, and that the government needs to fully divest in NNPC. It's very, very important for us to divest in NNPC. Look at what the deregulation of the telco sector, look at what it did to Nigerian economy from 2001 moving forward. Before, we used to rely on Nitel. When I tell my son that, we used to queue, and then you use this coin. You drop this coin and you dial to make calls. He said, that's not possible. But look at what that did to that particular sector. And we need to have that in the oil and gas sector, because this one is a major foreign exchange earner for Nigeria, and it's also what would drive our manufacturing sector and other sectors. So that particular aspect, I need government to come up with comprehensive reform that is transparent, that is open, that gives opportunity to Nigerians to invest in that particular sector.
Well, let's see what happens. It's a brand new year, brand new chance to make changes. We have more guests joining us. We have Denny Samakre. He's a security analyst, a regular face on this channel. Thank you for joining us. A happy new year to you. We also have Dr. Taofik Raimi. He's a business economist. He also joins us via Zoom. Happy New Year, and thanks for spending the first hours of 2025 with us.
Thank you very much. Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to everyone across the globe. Happy New Year, our Mr. President, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and all Nigerians and citizens everywhere. We're Happy New Year.
Thank you very much.
All right, Dr. Raimi, I guess we will just start with you since we were talking business shop before you came on. So talk to us about your overview of what went down in the economy in 2024 and areas you think perhaps the government could have done better.
Okay, thank you very much. Once again, I congratulate all of us for making it down to the year 2025. And it's really a brand new year, a year full of hope and expectation from the business angle, from economy, and from every good aspect of life. Improve standard of living for our people, from our government to citizens and everyone. So be that as it may, my overview of 2024, which is just the ended year, is a mixed bag. It's a mixed feeling. In terms of economic sphere, there are areas of high within that year, and I also believe that we have quite a lot of low. What are the areas, the high points, or where we could say we made some progress during the year 2024? I would say pivotal of it was the refinery, private refinery that came up that were through Dangote refinery. That is for the first time in over 20 years. Since the existence of even the country as it were, we were able to have a private sector-made refinery refining crude oil locally, which has guarantee availability of the product. And I'm sure as we continue along this trajectory, we will consolidate, and it will also impact on lowering the cost of eventual petroleum product for us. That was one of the high points of the year, 2024. Another high point for me happened to be, again, through the federal government, trying to reduce the pains that were accompanied or that accompanying the various laudable reforms that the government embarked upon. There has been consensus among many of us analysts, business analysts, development experts like myself, that those decisions, those reform and policies of the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, when he came on, were essential, were necessary. But the outcome or the impact it has quite a lot of negative impact because that is the nature of tough decisions, that economic decisions sometimes, until after some years before those negative impact will continue to phase out, and we will begin to reap the reward of the fruit of those reforms, as it were, in the medium and the long term. So part of the high point were the interventions that the government did, including giving incentives to manufacturers. Big manufacturers were given 1 billion, many of them. Small and medium enterprises were also encouraged. There were also a number of palliatives that were given to the poor people, even though more can still be done. So those are some of the significant events. A part of the significant event of 2024 also, which I must also talk about, is the tax bill that was currently before the National Assembly. You have asked another important question, that what are the low points?
There are quite a lot of low points. There was poverty in the land. There was high inflation, 34%. There was, that's headline inflation. There was also hyperinflation, food inflation. There was hunger in the land, and we cannot deny that. But there was also progress in terms of fighting insecurity by our security forces led by Malam
Thank you very much,
Nuhu
Doctor.
Ibadu.
Doctor, on that note, I want to cut you there and talk about security, and I want to do that with Mr. Makri here. Mr. Makri, thank you very much for being patient with us. But on security, I'd like you to tell us what you think about the 2024 endeavors by the government. We saw a very bad 2024 when it comes to security. 13th of January, first off, we had a situation where students and a teacher were kidnapped in Kuriga. If you follow through that thread all through the year, there were many instances of the sort, including doctors even being kidnapped. We also had the situation where we identified a new sect. If you compare 2024 with the allocation that has been made for security come 2025, what do you think we are looking out for come this, well, we are in 2025. Is it adequate, do you think, Mr. Makri? I'm hoping you can hear us. Mr. Makri, you have to unmute. I think you might be muted.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Season's greeting. Happy New Year to you guys in the studio. We're happy to be in the new year right now. And of course, with new hopes, of course, we're looking forward to a better year than last year. And just like you said, what happened in 2004 was a lot. We had a lot of killings across the country. And at the same time, you know, what I feel was different there was that, you know, in other previous years when these killings were going on, and of course, there was a lackadaisical attitude towards the killing. Last year, I think, was very, very pronounced, where the security agencies were more determined, more focused, and then I think more result-oriented. And I think there were some wins that we got during the year. So I think with the coming of 2005, things are going to be better. And I'm optimistic about that.
We see budget allocation that kind of like almost near rivals what we had to pay in 2024 for ransoms, and this caused a bit of a debate in 2024. Now, my initial question was if the allocation for security was adequate. Do you think that it's adequate for 2025, the suggested amount?
I think the budget figures for 2005 is very high. I think it's the highest that we've got so far. And I am very worried last year when those budget allocations were made and nothing actually happens to them. I personally know that there were situations where, in fact, in the past 2-3 years, where budget allocations were made, but the real money that gets into the hands of the security agencies was not enough, you know, to take care of the situation. And then when you think of how much we are spending, especially on new technology now, I think it might not be, security is expensive, but it should be, for starters, we should be able to use it towards a very positive end. So let's see what happens. It all depends on management of those funds, in the financial management of the funds, and then of course the appropriation is very, very well made. I think we should go ahead because the heads of the security agencies are ready. And for now, I think they are getting results. So what we have to do is to encourage them financially.
Okay, then.
All right, let's come back to Jide in the studio. I mean, you've heard their submission, so much to do in 2025. Let's talk about the youth. Let's move the needle a bit and talk about how the youths have fared in 2024. Some people said there was more energy, they were bolder in confronting government, and they were hoping that the trend will continue. So I'm going to ask you, do you think that they were bolder, and do you think that that trend might continue and help put some restraint on what governments do?
I think the pressured economic situation we found ourselves has more consequent effect on the youth. And that's why you see that we have incidents of different kind of cyber crimes and the rest of it being prevalent among the youth. And as someone who lectures and who deals with youth, I can tell you for a fact that a lot of Nigerian youths are disillusioned with respect to their future. However, what we need to continually do is to give them the assurance that there is hope at the end of the tunnel. You can't go low beyond where we are now, and that there's no better way for them than for them to believe, and then for them to get engaged and to participate in the entire process. And I think across board, both religious leaders, people in the educational sector, people in the community sector, we need to get a lot of youths involved we need to get a lot of them to participate in the entire process, because they feel left out in the scheme of things. If you recall, one of the lines in our whole national anthem, in the second stanza, he said, "Help our youth the truth to know." And then, we also say the youth are the future of any given nation. And I think that we need to open more spaces for them in terms of political spaces, in terms of economic spaces, beyond the handouts that government is doing. What are the areas in which we can empower our youth to be better off? You look at the areas of IT, information technology. These are areas in which government, either at the state level, at the local government level, and the federal level, can invest, and the youth to channel their energy, and then you can get them to be gainfully engaged and useful for the society. In terms of their participation, you can't compare the level of engagement in 2024 with the level of engagement in 2020. Now we have seen the emergence of an authoritarian state. Authoritarian state in the sense that state agencies and its officials tend to exploit the loopholes. Every constitution, every nation's law has some loopholes that can be exploited by those in authority, for example, until 2024, the issue of criminal libel and civil libel never came into central focus, which brings to bear the freedom of expression. So I think it's important for those that are at the ends of affairs and those at various levels of social mobilization to know that we need to critically engage the youth, otherwise we mortgage the future of this nation.
Dr. Raimi, can I come back to you and talk about one of the most contentious issues of 2024, and that was tax reforms. We saw the North come up and say, no, we're not with this new tax reform that the President, Tinubu, is about to put in place, but we saw plenty of explanations. What are your takes on the tax reform, as people have argued that it's the government's way of handing something to the people and then taking it back? Your thoughts, please.
Okay. On the tax reform bill, I think tremendous work has been done by the presidential committee set up by the president to prepare to review our existing tax laws and arrangements. I want to believe that this tax bill will actually not only provide increased revenue to the government in order to be able to provide the critical infrastructure and development that we expect to happen in the next couple of years. It will also alleviate, it will bring relief to the downtrodden, the larger percentage of poor people based on the analysis that has been studied within the bill. The bill basically will tax more from the rich, as it were. But I think the misgiving that has gone too far among, especially from the North, some of even the leaders of thought in the northern part of Nigeria have acknowledged that majority of the people who are opposing this particular tax bill have not actually studied the bill before they condemned it. So far, the bill is currently with the National Assembly. I believe there are a lot of negotiation and discussion going on there. I also believe that the National Assembly will convey public hearing, where everybody, all the stakeholders, the governors, the civil society organizations,
let me interject and ask you this. I don't think you are aware of the comments made by the president during his media chat. He said the tax reform is here to stay. You're suggesting that there's a possibility for further conversation and consultation, but that doesn't seem to be in the offing.
Carefully to the presidential media chat. Immediately after he said that the tax reform bill has come to stay, he also said that there is room for further negotiation, but that will take place at the National Assembly, presumably. And you know, in politics, a lot of undercurrent, a lot of things take place behind the scene. So I'm not sure the president meant that it is completely foreclosed. After all, most bills that go to National Assembly don't come out exactly the way it came. All the stakeholders still have the opportunity to provide their options or the alternatives. And it's a question of negotiation. So I want to believe that. And the press also should explain this further. We can't politicize everything, because like one of your colleague guests that you brought earlier mentioned, if we keep doing the same thing, we think we are going to have different results. It's not possible. So this tax reform bill is helpful. It's not just to create revenue for the government. Of course, it's important that we look at other sources of generating revenue to fund our budget and to also develop our critical infrastructure. Because if we do so, we will create more jobs for our youth, and which constitute larger percentage of our citizens. We will also enable to create the enabling environment for the manufacturing sector of our industry, of our country, of our economy. It is also important that we should diversify our economy.
All right, Dr. Raimi, I know there's a lot to be said, but just hang on for a bit. Let's bring in our colleague, Igbalani Omoni, who is live in Lagos. Ni, if you could just tell us where you are at and what the celebration is looking like, and perhaps get us to speak to some people.
Well, Felicity, I'll start with these, noting that as journalists, we also have families, but of course, we have to be here to celebrate it all this so we can bring these news and to let you see what is happening on the other side and to let our people also be informed. I'm currently at the, let me confirm that, the Citadel Global Community Church on the mainland here in Ikeja, the Central Business District, and it's just a few minutes past 12 a.m. A lot of celebration had gone on in there at the mark of 12, where a lot of people were just there celebrating, hugging their loved ones, sharing sweet moments, telling them how much they love them, how 2024 has been a little bit bumpy, but they appreciate the fact that they can celebrate and are alive to also be with their loved ones. I'm here with one man who is quite excited to be in 2025. The last time, I didn't see you, but the last time I was in this place was 2024 and it's 2025. Let's start with your name. What's your name, sir? Please look at the camera.
My name is Temitokwe David Olaya.
Temitokwe David Olaya. 2024, a lot of people said, was a little bit bumpy. There were a lot of issues with economics and every other thing. 2025, you're in there now. What are you looking forward to?
Yes, in 2024, a lot of things, my dream that I've been pursuing, I'm going to achieve. But thank God I really achieved not all, but I still thank God that it was somehow rough, but at the same time it was good. But 2025 is going to be my year of fulfilled dream. I look forward to it, and I know it will be more greater and more better than 2024. I know 2025 is going to be a blessing to me. And I believe no matter the economic vibe, no matter the situation of the country, I just have hope and I have dream and I trust God that it's going to be wonderful. All the things I've not been able to achieve in 2024, this is my year that I'm going to achieve it by the special grace of God, which I believe.
You sound like you're still going to be staying in Nigeria for 2025.
Definitely. Nigeria is my hometown.
So no Japa.
Where do I want to Japa to? Japa Azao. Because this is where I have my being, and this is where I have my home, my family. Why do I want to japa? There's hope in our country, and there's future in this place. I know and I trust God that all things will be better. 2025 is my year of fulfilled dream.
All right.
I will fulfill my dream.
Thank you very much. As you said, we have one good patriot of Nigeria here. And I'm here with another person I would like to speak with. Yeah, no problem. All right, so let's start with your names. What's your name?
I'm Timmy.
Yeah. Yours?
Praise.
Okay, good. It's 2025. It's a brand new year. There's a school of thought that says the first thing you do on the first day of the year is what you do throughout the year. Do you believe that first?
No, not necessarily. No, it can't be. Do you believe that? No.
Okay, so it's 2025, and what are your aspirations for this year? Let's start with you.
So I thought about it a few days ago, and I realized that what I want this 2025 is perfection of everything that, has started in 2024. So I want a perfection and a completion of all those things. I want to be better than I was last year. Yeah.
If you have the opportunity to change one thing right now in Nigeria, like you could just snap your finger and something should change in Nigeria and make Nigeria better, what will it be for you?
That's quite impulsive. That's because if I give you my real honest thought.
No, please give me your honest thought. Okay?
Okay, well, it would have been the outcome of 2023 elections. Yeah, that would have been it. I don't know who I would have preferred, but I definitely know that something different would have meant, a different party would have meant a different thing for a new Nigeria.
Okay, and you?
To change the price of fuel and naira to dollar. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, that it's different. And lastly, I'd just like to ask you, by this time next year, 2025, where do you see yourself?
Where do I see myself?
Please don't tell me not in Nigeria.
30,000 feet in the sky, man. I'm a pilot.
Okay.
That's how we roll.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you?
Hopefully in America.
Thank you very much, ladies. Thank you so much. So contrasting ideas, contrasting information and answers there. While someone will stay in Nigeria, others are going to be in the air. I have this, come. I have these beautiful young ones here. What's your name?
Boluwatife.
And what's yours?
Darasumi.
And what's yours?
Esther.
So what would you like for the new year? What's your plan for this year? Do you have any plan at all?
I want to get a good profile in my school and a badge to be respected when I leave.
That's good. And you? What would you like for the new year?
I would like to travel.
Travel to where?
France.
You don't want to stay in Nigeria at all?
Yes.
Okay. And you? What would be your best? What could be the best thing that could happen to you this year?
The best that could happen to me this year is that I should get a full scholarship in my school. I should be the best person in my school. That I should travel. I should do many other things that is unexpected.
Thank you very much. And you heard it from the young ones as well. Everyone has a bucket list. Everyone has New Year resolution, as we usually say it, but who knows, some of us don't keep to it, and fingers crossed, this time around, maybe we'll get some of those things ticked on that list. Over to you, Felicity.
I don't know how viable New Year resolutions are now, because over the years there's been a lot of conversation as to people keeping their New Year resolution. But I did love the wish of the young ones that were interviewed.
It
academic
was so pure.
success,
Yeah, exactly.
so
I want to be
clean.
successful.
Yes.
It's not like not jackpot or more money or a new car.
Just want to expand their horizon,
I want to be better,
learn more.
out.
Yeah, that was quite impressive. All right, let's stay with our guests. We have three of them, two via Zoom. We have Dr. Taufik Raimi. We also have Denisa Makri, and then we have live in the studio, Jide Johnson. Thank you, gentlemen, for sticking with us. Jide, let's stay with you and see. We have those young children talk about what they hope for in the new year. This administration is over a year now, and they talked about what they would do for the education sector. What would be your assessment of the work that they have done, and how truly accessible and laudable is the student loan that was much talked about in 2024?
First, let me commend those younger generation. And it's important for us to take a key from that. It's in teaching kids on how to set goals. Those are proper outlined goals for their lives. And I think every other kid and every other youth that is watching us should take a key from what those young ones have outlined with respect to setting goals for their life. When you look at the educational sector, I've said it, there's a need for us to have a national conference on what type of education do we want to have in this country. One of the best countries that you need to study the educational policy is Finland. There are two approaches to the educational sector in Finland. In Finland, you can go the academic route, you can go through the trade route, and then you can still converge at whatever level you want to converge. And I asked myself this question: how many doctors are we going to need in the next 20 years? How many engineers are we going to need in the next 20 years? How many nurses are we going to need in the next 20 years?
Do we have that kind of projection in this country?
So these are the projections that should guide our educational policy. For example, we know quite all right that in the year 2045, we are going to need 50,000 doctors. We are going to need 50,000 nurses. Now that will inform the national educational policy. Probably you provide a grant. For example, that, okay, if you study medicine, government is going to sponsor you to a certain degree, and you're going to serve the nation to a certain extent. But we don't have that. We just have this flip-flopping educational policy that does not address to the needs. What are the needs? What are our needs with respect to our developmental goal? How many agricultural scientists do we need? So these are the things that should inform. Beyond, you see, one of the major problems of the Fourth Republic is that every government, every successive government, believe in throwing money. That when they throw money, and money will solve problems. It's not money that solves, it's ideas that solve problems. What are the ideas behind all of these projects that you see? That, okay, we have brought in student loan, student could have access to loans. In the process, we remove. I said it. I used to share it with my son. I said, if my father had to pay what I paid for you to go to school, majority of the people in my generation will not go to school. Majority of the policymakers today are beneficiary of the educational system of the Western region, of the state government during the Second Republic, and we are now the set of people that are making it so hard. In actual sense, let me just use myself. Let me use myself as a case study.
Sorry to interject, because I want us to sort of streamline the conversation and focus on what this administration has done with education in the past 1 year, and perhaps areas that they can, review. I talked about the loan, the student loan that was announced. What kind of impact do you think that has had, and is it something that should be broadened or replicated in other areas of education?
I think beyond the loan, we still need to also increase the scholarship, provide scholarship for from indigent students, extraordinary students, and so that there's no burden on those indigent and extraordinary students. And like I said, it's very simple. Check the crop of those in government today. They did not use any loan to go to school.
True.
They enjoy scholarship. Why would you enjoy scholarship while you were a student and you are denying others the opportunity which you enjoy? The student loan is good in one hand. Like I said, government will throw something with you with their right hand, and they will take it back with the left hand. Now remove educational subsidy with one hand, and then we throw student loan on the other hand. And I was trying to give an example of my own life. Look, I lost my dad while I was in year 2 in the university, first semester. And I lost my mom while I was in primary 2. Now, it was because of the educational policy at that particular point in time that made someone like me, that is an orphan, to run through the educational system and to become who I am today. And every time you see that government comes up with this different type of policies, and you have a reflection, using your own life as a test case, then you know that what government is doing, is it really going to bring about a change in the system? And that's why, as far as I'm concerned, anytime we talk about this loan, I see it as those that have come up with this policy not being truthful and not being sincere, because you are a beneficiary of a scholarship system Why is it now that you benefited from something and you're now denying others from enjoying what you benefited from?
Quite important submission. We'll be bringing you some visuals in a bit, live visuals as people prepare. That's New York, by the way. People are getting ready to usher in 2025. Let's take it briefly and we'll be back. Happy people, beautiful pictures from New York. We've already moved into 2025 and they are preparing to move in themselves. Maxino is shaking his head to the music we just listened to.
Yes, I was enjoying it, actually. I wish I was there, but I had to be here.
All right, let's go over to my colleague Austin in Delta for further update and what the people are doing in a brand new year. How are they setting it off? Austin, over to you.
Felicity, Happy New Year. Mazino, Happy New Year. This is 2025. The last time we spoke, it was actually in the year 2024. Currently, we are in 2025. The excitement here in Delta State, particularly at St. John Bosco Catholic Church in Asaba, the excitement knows no bounds. Earlier on, the place was full with a celebration, and the people were quite hopeful about the year 2025. And we spoke to them earlier on, and here is the year 2025 everyone has been dreaming about. Okay, I have one or two persons to share their testimony to us about the year 2025. Okay, please come forward a little, step forward a little. Okay, tell us your name. How do you feel crossing over to the year 2025?
My name is Jennifer Kanevi. I'm so happy to cross over to 2025. I thank God for how we gather here today to thank God, because God is so faithful to us. We thank God for everything in Jesus' name. Amen.
So what are your expectations in the year 2025?
My expectation that God will give us wisdom and give me, I need anxiety to know God more than before.
What's your thoughts about Nigeria leaders?
I pray that God will touch their hearts, let everything change, because I believe that one day that the Nigeria will be better.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay. All right. Please come forward a little. All right. Tell us your name and tell us your expectation.
Yeah, I'm Wakboy Kelly. Yeah, year 2025 is going to be a great year, and we expect to see new things coming into our life. We believe that this year, 2025, is going to be a year where God is going to bless us abundantly. Despite the 2024 hurdles, everything that happened in 2024. But 2025, we look forward to a greater year. We look forward to a fulfilling year. Thank you.
Okay, what's your thoughts about Nigerian leaders? Of course, it's expected that in the year 2025, our leaders will turn a new leaf. What do you wish our leaders?
Yeah, we pray that God will give them the strength to lead us into this 2025, so that this year will be a better year for us. We believe that God is going to change all our leaders, is going to touch their heart, so that we can move forward in 2025.
Okay, your name again?
Dr. Wagboy Kelly.
Okay, thank you, Kelly. All right, I have a father here who is going to tell us how he feels about the year 2025. Okay, father, let's meet you. Your name and your designation, sir.
I'm Reverend Father Anthony Okoria Alfred.
How do you feel crossing over to the year 2025, and what were your expectations in the year 2024? Were you able to meet them as a priest?
Our expectation that the year should be better. This 2024 last year was not too good, but we thank God for that, for life. But I pray that the year 2025 will just began, that God will give us the grace to do the right things, so that will better our nation for us, and everybody will live happily as one. That is my expectation in this new year.
The economy in the year 2024 seems to be battered, and all fingers point to the leadership deficit in Nigeria. What's your wish for Nigerian leaders?
Wish for Nigeria is the government should do something, and at least cushion the effects of the hardship. Is too much for Nigerians. At least pay workers, as many in the state have increased their minimum wage. They should pay them. Then they should create more jobs for Nigerians. Then Nigeria can be better.
Thank you, Father. We can't thank you enough. All right, Felicity and Mazino, you quite agree with me that a lot is expected from every other person here in this year 2025. But however, we believe and hope by the special grace of God, this year 2025 will be better than the year 2024 that we just left.
A lot of prayers and a lot of optimism. Thank you very much, Austin, for holding the fort and bringing us all the live pictures as people came into 2025 with us in the studios as well. Thank you. All right. I mean, Nigerians are very religious people. It comes at times like, I just worry, though, that it doesn't seem reflective in the governance structure. It's like the religiousness doesn't cut across to get to our leaders and make them more humane.
Well, they say you're closer to God when you need something. When you have money and you need nothing, you can imagine. Well, that's just,
by the side. That's just by the side.
But we still have our guests here in the studio. I'm going to be turning to one of them now. I'm going to be coming to Mr. Dennis Zamakri. Mr. Dennis, if you're still there as our security expert, I wanted to take a look at 2024 and the security apparatus in Nigeria. Many people called for state policing, and others actually argued about the use of police in instances like protests or even elections. So I'm wondering, what do you think? What was your take on how the present administration has, well, I don't want to use the word use, but how they have applied the security agencies that they have had on hand? Would you say that they had a pass mark in 2024? And what might we be looking at come this year, 2025? Mr. Mark,
okay, thank you very much. You see, the usage or use or abuse of the security agencies is what is of concern at this time, especially the police. When you look at the police itself, they are not much. The whole country has less than 500,000 policemen. And then, of course, our population is increasing. So you find out that there are not enough policemen to enforce laws. And that's why we have these ungoverned spaces where you have bandits hanging around and then doing whatever they want to do. So the president in his very first speech said that he was going to, restructure the security infrastructure. And then, of course, it took some time. But right now, I'm happy that we have the foundation being laid for state police to take off. And of course, you know, for that one, we have the legislative framework that has to be taken care of. And after the legislative framework, then of course, the laws are going to be spelled out, you know, because we don't want state police to fall into the same category that the Nigeria police itself has fallen into. This should be a brand new police, and this should be a police service that will be, you know, offering services, police services of law enforcement, and then, of course, detecting crimes and preventing crimes to protect and serve the people. I think that's what we are looking for right now. And if we do that and bring down the policing system to the grassroots, then we can cover those ungoverned spaces where we have unwanted bandits, you know, hiding out and then causing all kinds of problems.
Now, talking about bandits, let's go over to the north where we discovered a new insurgents, that's the Lukarawas, so it's the Lakarawas. We also had the instance only just last week where we had collateral damage when the army tried to engage these people, trying to, well, blast them out of their hideouts. Unfortunately, some people got caught in the crossfire. What would you say regarding the military's intelligence gathering? How do you think it could be better this year, 2025, so we could avoid cases of collateral damage like we saw from last week?
Yes, I think there is a need for us to start working together in a fusion, not in silos, because what is happening now is that, you know, some groups were before, in fact, where you have the Army doing its thing, the Navy doing its thing, Air Force, DSS, police are doing their own thing, you know, and fortunately, they've created the Fusion Center in the Office of the National Security Advisor. And I hope that they will use it. Because right now, with the kind of leadership we have in the DSS, I think we should do a lot. Leadership in the DSS because the DSS is basically an intelligence agency, you know. And as an intelligence agency, that's what they do every day, 24/7. And they generate this intelligence in different facets of the economy, agriculture, you know, border security, and all. And then give it to the right people to use. If we work in unison, where all these bandits are hiding out and doing whatever they want to do, I believe strongly that with the new leadership, most of these bandits are going to be eradicated because I think they are stressing more of the covert actions, not overt. You know, they go underground and do what they have to do, and then of course the public will see the results.
All right, we seem to have very limited time left, so I'm going to pose this question to you. Human rights. I know your specialty is economist, Dr. Raimi, and also come to today if we have the time. Talk to us about human rights in Nigeria in 2024. How would you score the government? I mean, we've had various instances of people. We currently have a young Nigerian who is incarcerated, yet to face trial. We had the case of Dele Faratimi. We had the case of those young chaps who were part of the End Bad Governance protest and the controversy around that. So what is your assessment?
Thank you very much for that question. Although I'm not a lawyer, but I'll try to answer it as it concerns security.
Dr. Raimi, apologies. I knew you were a security person, and he's an economist, and I did paraphrase that before I put the question.
Okay, is the question directed at me?
Yes, sir. Dr. Raimi, I'm asking you, as I know you're an economist, but you live in this country, so I wanted you to speak quickly on human rights in 2024.
Okay, there are two dimensions from where I believe we should look at this. Every country is guided by its own laws and order. And in order for us to have orderliness in the society, to protect life of people, property of people, and to bring sanity to the society, we must encourage all the citizens across the cadre, whether you are young or you are adult, to obey the laws of the land. That's what the constitution of the country prescribes, and it's for the benefit of everybody. So I will only say
Your
to
thoughts,
the youth.
We have very limited time left, so Jide, please talk to us.
Well, the cross of democracy is the fundamental principle of human right, freedom of association, freedom of expression, and that's the cardinal principle of democracy. Those that are in power today, 25 years ago, you look back, were at the forefront of Nadeko movement, which battered the Fourth Republic, and there were attempts by those in authority then to suppress their right. What they fought against, they are now instituting now.
So what do you expect to see in 2025?
In 2025, I expect government to have respect for the rule of law. The rule of law talks about the supremacy of the Constitution, and their fundamental principle governing that. One of it is the supremacy of the Constitution, is the rule of law, respect for fundamental human rights. And I hope we have that in 2025, moving forward.
What about the people who are incarcerated currently? You think that perhaps maybe 2025 there should be a new drive to try and see how their rights could be upheld, even while they're still incarcerated?
I think that there's a need for us to have the reform of the administrative justice system in Nigeria. You look at that case in Osun State where the governor had to intervene. Somebody that stole a domestic animal that was sentenced to death.
I think there's some controversy around
whether it was armed robbery or what have you. And here you have allegedly governor that stole money that they have receptions for. And then you have people that have committed treason and felony against this nation, act of terrorism, and you said they are repentant Boko Haram, and they go free. And they've killed people, they've maimed people. So when you look at all of that, you talk about there is a need for us to have reforms and the rest of it. Yeah, we are closing now, just leave it there.
Well, it's a very interesting submission there, and I was hoping perhaps maybe if we could have our guests online also give us a... Mr. Amakri, you actually had you wanted to give a take from before. If you can go ahead and do that now, Mr. Amakri.
Studio said it all. You know, our country should be, if we have a constitution that we obey or look up to, you know, then we should be under the rule of law, because there must be equal justice under the law, you know. And if there is no equal justice or people don't believe the rule of law, then we're in trouble. The rule of law actually means that everybody's, you know, there is nobody above the law. That is what the rule of law means. And people's rights are being trampled. And if that is the case, we expect that as we evolve in our democracy, we should also look at it. Our legislators are supposed to be very, very serious about this, because apparently they are very comfortable with the way the law is, and they are reveling in it. We would expect them to look at these laws and be true Democrats and be true statesmen, you know, by creating a law that will protect everybody. And that will be the reformation of the criminal justice system.
I think that is a good way to start off the year, recapping what happened in the past and what we are to expect in 2025. Gentlemen, I want to say thank you very much for spending the first hours of 2025 with us here at News Central. Denisa Makare, Dr. Taufik Rami, and right in the studio, we had Jude Johnson. Thank you so much.
Thank you very
much. It's a pleasure to be with you. Thank you for having me.
Yes,
and
indeed.
Happy New Year once again to all our viewers all over the world.
Yes, indeed. Happy
Thank you very
New
much, sirs.
Year.
Thank you. Well, I guess that's how we round it off, isn't it? But I'll let you do that, please.
Okay, it's been an absolute pleasure being here and ushering in the new year. Like most of the respondents, my colleagues across the country have spoken to, there is optimism that 2025 will be a better year than what we had in 2024. And I urge you to stay with News Central. We have plenty for you in the new year. So make sure you stay with DSTV channel 422. We are on all social media platforms. You can see our live stream on YouTube as well. Just look for News Central TV. Thank you for spending the first hours of 2025 with us once again. And may the new year be good to all of us. That's goodbye from me.
And, well, goodbye from me, and I wish you same. Thank you.